Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Richmond Common Council meeting for July the 21st. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a prayer by Councilor Purcell?
Heavenly Father, we bow before your presence today with faith, humility, and thanksgiving for the chance to meet again. As we prepare to start this meeting, please send the Holy Spirit to guide us in our discussion and fill us with wisdom and confidence. May you grant us the patience and understanding to remain resilient to life's challenges and face them with grace. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Purcell. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Here.
Lucinda Wright.
Present.
Bill Engel.
Here.
Larry Parker.
Here.
Ann Taylor.
Here.
Gary Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbelow.
Here.
Justin Burkhart.
Here.
And Jerry Purcell.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of our regular meeting is held on June the 16th and July the 7th.
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell,
if there's no changes, I move that we accept both June the 16th and July the 7th as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of 16th and the July the 7th as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Presentations, memorials, introductions. Don't believe we have any right now. Communications from the mayor.
Mr. President, tonight you'll have two lengthy presentations, so I'll yield my time to Dustin Purvis for infrastructure and development and keep the meeting rolling.
Okay, that's under reports from department heads. Dustin, would you come forward then?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening,
sir.
I'm Dustin Purvis. I am the Director of Infrastructure and Development. And I'm just going to take a little while this evening to provide a hopefully somewhat brief overview of just some of the things that have been keeping my department busy over the last year. For those of you who might need a refresh, I&D, we're involved in a few things, but our primary task is to help plan and facilitate all new development within the city of Richmond. And so that's across the spectrum. That can be someone who's building a new shed in their backyard, all the way to a 150-unit mixed-use apartment building downtown. We are, tasked with working with developers, architects, engineers, and contractors to work through the initial planning and zoning review, through the permitting process, through the inspection process, all the way up to final approval. And we have to do that while ensuring that all new development is in sync with the city's comprehensive plan, as well as adhering to all of our state and local codes. And so I'll start with all city planning and zoning work is within I&D. This is a three-person team. It includes myself as the planning director, Joanne Baroker is our zoning administrator, and Monica Young is our planning technician. Our work is primarily informed by the city's Unified Development Ordinance, which is Chapter 158 of the city's code. This includes all of our zoning districts, all of our standards, our sub-district control ordinance, all of the planning and zoning processes that guide growth within the city. And as you can see on the screen, we have so far in 2025 issued 77 improvement location permits. These are our zoning permits for new construction within the city. That number, 77 for the first half of this year, is on pace to be the highest that the most zoning permits we've issued since 2020. And then initially we have issued 18 separate improvement location permits for new signs. Planning staff, we oversee the city's Board of Zoning Appeals. This is the board that, if you have a property owner or a developer who, they can petition this board to seek relief from any provision within the Unified Development Ordinance if they think they have a case to make that would allow them to have a variance from that requirement. And so whenever someone petitions the Board of Zoning Appeals, we have a public hearing. Planning staff puts together a rather thorough report and makes a recommendation to the board. And so over the last year, going back to last January, that board has had hearings for 1 special exception, 4 variances of use, 21 variances of development standards. Some of the notable cases in the last year include variances related to the 6th and Main apartment project, the Chester Heights apartment expansion, there's a proposed new hotel on West Eaton Pike, the proposed 7-Eleven and Speedway on Williamsburg Pike, and the Wawa project also on Williamsburg Pike. Of course, we also staff the city's Advisory Plan Commission, as well as the Plat Committee, which is a subcommittee of the Plan Commission that is tasked with overseeing kind of smaller scale subdivision projects that don't require public hearings. And so in the last year, we have facilitated 10 administrative subdivisions, 6 minor subdivisions, 4 rezones, 1 primary plat, 3 secondary plats, 1 phase of a plan development, a development plan, and 1 order, which was to confirm a resolution that had been approved by the Richmond Redevelopment Commission. And notable cases during this time period includes, as you'll all remember, the District Ordinance and Establishment Plan for the Smith Hill project, which was about a year ago, the development plan for the Chester Heights apartment expansion, the secondary replat of the Eagle Trace subdivision on the west side of the city, the 6th and Main property lot reconfiguration, and just last month, the Plan Commission approved the secondary plat for the final edition of the Hidden Valley subdivision. We also staff the city's Historic Preservation Commission. Among other things, this commission issues certificates of appropriateness or COAs for properties that are located within one of the city's historic conservation districts. As you can see, they heard 3 requests over the last year. All 3 were for demolition, 2 were approved, and 1 was denied. And this is a commission that has, over half of the commission has joined within the last year. So they're kind of gaining momentum at this time. And at the moment, they are exploring the possibility of establishing a conservation district downtown. So they are doing some initial research on that. They're reaching out to property owners to gauge whether or not there's any buy-in for this. And if that does ultimately move forward, that would come before this body. Moving on to the Building and Inspections Division of IND. This consists of our building commissioner, Aaron Jordan, our building inspector, Terry Ford, and our administrative assistant, Christine Sitlow. And Christine also works with us in planning and zoning, but kind of predominantly on the building side. In 2025, so far, we have issued 683 building permits, and Aaron and Terry have conducted over 800 inspections. And those 683 permits have resulted in over $32.5 million in commercial investment in the first 2 quarters of 2025. This is a pace to be one of our better recent years. Additionally, we have seen a little over $6.5 million in residential investment in the first 2 quarters of 2025 as well. This is also on pace to be the most investment in residential projects that we've seen since 2020. And kind of narrowing this info down in a different way, this shows the investment that we've seen on East Main Street, specifically between 5th Street and 13th Street in 2025. And so far, we've seen over $14 million in downtown investment. And this is, of course, a focus of my department as well as the city and community more broadly is to try to revitalize downtown. And this, as you'll see in a second, the $14 million investment is a substantial increase to anything we've seen in recent years. The bulk of that does come from the 6th and Main project. We issued permits for that about a month or 2 ago, but there are other projects, other investment costs related to, for instance, the rehabilitation of the Reedmore building and some of the recent upkeep and recent renovations to the downtown Delhi building as well. And so this is quite a large increase compared to what we've seen recently. And as I think you're all aware, this is something that I think we project to see continue over the next few years. This is just a kind of a combined residential and commercial permit comparison over the past 5 years. As you can see, 2023 is a little bit of an anomaly here. In 2023, we had 3 very large projects in the Midwest Industrial Park. We had the expansion of Blue Buffalo, Anchor Ingredients, and Liberation Bio Industries. And so that really kind of inflated that 2023 number. The bulk of that investment came from those 3 projects. But on the whole, you can see a gradual increase in investment. Some of that can probably be attributed to increased construction costs. But as I mentioned a moment ago, we have seen a gradual increase in permits as well. And at nearly $40 million in 2025, we're well on pace to surpass all of the recent totals with the exception of 2023. And here is just a kind of final way to look at some of this data. This is just broken down by commercial and residential investment over the past 5 years. And then you can see on the right side, this is you can sort of see the $14 million in downtown investment, and that's quite a change. If we were to blow that bar graph up, you would see we have been seeing an increase in downtown investment over this time, but this year is quite a big difference. So then finally, moving on to Geographic Information Systems, or our GIS coordinator. This is Thomas Hill, who's also with us this evening. Thomas's role with the city is kind of sprawling. He manages quite a lot of data across different departments. He also manages our public mapping assets. And he works in IND, he works primarily with IND, but he is also responsible for collaboration and planning and technical support for just about any department that you can think of within the city. He works very closely with code enforcement and public operations, parks, street, the police, and he's also the president of the city's Environmental Sustainability Commission. He's active on the Street Tree Commission. So Thomas is a busy guy. You'll learn more about something else he's working on later tonight. But just to highlight one of his sort of IND-specific projects, this is the planning and zoning dashboard. Thomas manages and upkeeps and has improved this. And if you're not familiar with this is linked on the city's web page, but it basically shows all planning and zoning and historic preservation processes that are going to be going to public hearing over the next month. And so you can look at this, you can see all of the upcoming cases, you can see where the subject property is located, what's being requested, you can see when the meeting day and time is in case you want to attend the public hearing. And then you also have the option here to click and view all the case documents. So you can review the application or view any sort of maps or plans associated with the request. And so we think this is an important tool in helping keep the public engaged. Whenever we send out letters to interested property owners, we always make sure to include a link to this with a QR code. We include the QR code in the legal ads that we send out to the newspaper advertising our public hearings. But this is also an example of how Thomas has kind of used his programming skills to streamline departmental efficiency over the past year. This dashboard was developed by Thomas's predecessor, Grayson Hart, but upkeeping the dashboard and making sure that it was always up to date and that it reflected, the votes in the previous cases was a multi-step process that, would take sort of hours, sometimes even days, to just see the dashboard updated to reflect the updates. And Thomas, using his technical savvy, has been able to automate this process, so it only takes about 15 minutes now. And so we've started some very preliminary discussions about maybe some other ways we can pivot to use Thomas's abilities to expedite some of our other internal procedures. Here we have just a few other examples of how this GIS coordinator position is able to help the city make data-driven decisions. It's maybe a little difficult to see on the screen, but some of you may recall the Beat the Heat program that was housed in IND a few years ago. We were able to get a lot of good data about different parts of the city and which parts of the city were most vulnerable to heat. That data was used to, for instance, create this urban heat island effect map up here. That data would in turn inform the map that's at the bottom right-hand corner here, which is a priority planting classification map. This map kind of was meant to indicate which parts of the city would most benefit from increasing our public tree inventory, and maybe which parts of the city did not need the more trees. And this data was instrumental in the city's successful bid for the community and urban forestry grant that we were awarded last year. And there are other examples here of just how we're able to sort of, Thomas is able to use data that's geographically referenced to kind of inform the decisions that we make. We have just a couple more examples here as well of just some of the projects that Thomas has been able to do with other departments and community partners. We have trail maps, utility maps, watershed maps that have been done for sanitation and public operations and the Parks Department. And that's really about all I have. Again, we are a relatively small 7-person operation, but I&D had been short-staffed for several years, dating back well before I was here. And as of about this time last year, we've been fully staffed. And I think we've been able to really kind of grow and sort of improve our processes. We're pretty good at, working together, working with the community. And hopefully I think we're poised to continue this over the next several years, where we'll hopefully see more, exciting growth and development in the city. So that's all I've got. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to.
Thank you, Dustin. That's very thorough. Any questions at this time from council?
Mr. President, I just want to thank you very much. That was very informative, and I appreciate all the work that you've put into it, and I'm very excited about the projects that are happening around town. Thank you.
Ditto.
Mr. Purvis, I had a question. You mentioned that they're looking at a historic preservation district for the downtown.
That's correct.
What would the advantages of that be? Are there some advantages attached to that?
There are. So I mentioned the certificate of appropriateness program at first. That would mean that if hypothetically someone purchased and wanted to tear down a building downtown, they would initially have to get approval from the historic preservation to do that. It also gives them an opportunity to create some design guidelines that wouldn't necessarily be legally binding, but it is something that we can, if you do own a downtown building, it kind of provides you with some guidelines for how, if you're doing renovation or if you're doing any kind of work on the building, how to kind of better adhere to the historical nature and integrity of the area.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, did you have any comments at all?
You're busy, doing a great job, a lot going on.
Okay. We skipped over the Board of Public Works and Safety minutes. The minutes of June the 5th and the 12th are included in your packets. Does council have any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Hearing none. Reports from department heads, we've got that taken care of with Dustin. Any miscellaneous business to come before council at this time? Ordinance is on first reading.
I want to make a motion.
Yeah. Doug?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we move ordinance 32, 2025 to second reading. Or make an adjustment to the agenda, I should say. 32, 2025 is supposed to be on second reading.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Maybe they need.
All in favor of moving ordinance 32, 2025 to second reading and read by title only? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ordinance is on first reading.
Mr. President,
Mr. Turner.
I would like to move to suspend the rules and move and read by title only ordinance 34, 2025.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only ordinance number 34, 2025. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Ordinance number 34, 2025, an appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of federal grant funds from the Indiana Community Action Association.
Evening.
Good evening.
I'm Allison Zeidel. I'm a member of the Richmond Environmental Sustainability Commission. And Thomas is my tech guy, and he's trying to get, oh, there we go, look, poof, and he makes it happen. He's good at more than just maps. He's good at everything. All right, so we're here tonight to talk to you about the Solar for All opportunity that Richmond has been presented with. I have talked to all of you, I believe, individually or through committee. This is an opportunity we did not apply for. In 2023, Richmond sent a letter of not a letter of recommendation, sorry, a letter of support to the Indiana Coalition that was putting together a proposal to EPA. Indiana won that grant, and which was wonderful. It was 117 million, I think, in federal funding. So they're helping cities across the state to put this into place. Richmond was invited recently to be a part of this. So many cities have known for a year that they were a part of this. Richmond just received word that we would be a part of this about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, somewhere around there. So it's called Solar for All. The point of this program, and it's very specific, is to make the economic benefits of solar available to low-income residents of our country. It's very specific. This is not money that can be spent on anything else. So we're not asking for a decision to spend it on something else tonight. We're asking for a decision to actually utilize this money. So let me get my stuff straight. Is it scrolling with me? There you go. So the basics of the program is, again, to connect low-income residents with the benefits of solar energy, hyper-focused. There's really no flexibility there in the use of that funding. It's a federal program through the EPA, and it's administered in Indiana by the Indiana Community Action Association. This is a $3 million grant with no required local match, which, hallelujah. It's really a wonderful opportunity and was drawn that way and is really something that Indiana needs. We have tentative partners right now of Morrison Reeves Library and the Housing Authority, and I'll talk slightly more about that in just a second here. The process for this and the reason why we're with you tonight is that we want to make sure we're respecting the rules of council of bringing grant opportunities to you. But again, we didn't apply for this grant. It was kind of given to us. So we're in a little bit of a pickle here with timing. They are ready to move forward. And by they, I'm talking about the coalition. The state coalition is ready to move forward with all of the phase 2 cities. So we're just trying to dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's as fast as we can to be able to jump in there with them. I believe we are the last city to jump in. So I think they've got their cities pretty well set at this point. We learned of the funding opportunity, I think, in late May. I don't have my timing perfect on that one, but we did approach the mayor and Beth to talk about it and say, is this something you feel like Richmond would want? They, of course, after hearing that there's no match needed, were like, yes, let's think about this. I think this is a good thing to at least pursue and research. We gathered input from RP&L, who's been wonderful. Skip Moore has been a saint through this whole thing. We also talked to the Environmental Sustainability Commission and got a lot of guidance from INCAA and the Environmental Resilience Institute, which is someone we work with a lot at IU. We determined the fit within their guidelines. They have several guidelines of what you can do with this money. Again, all of it hyper-focused on low-income residents. But after talking through this, we really decided that putting this money toward housing authority apartments and in a partnership with the library to create a resilience hub were probably two of the best uses of this money and uses that we could ensure low-income residents were always benefiting from, and they were controllable. There was 2 projects, not 50 different housing installations going on, which can create a real nightmare, but some communities are taking that path. Again, this is still tentative. We're in the very early stages of this, and so we're still working on budget, but this is one of the maps that Thomas put together that shows you where those locations are. Those are both in a designated vulnerable area, so it is definitely an area that's also accessible by many people. You know, Morrison Reeves Library is used by a huge number of people. And we're excited about the idea of the Resilience Hub. And what that means is that a portion of the library, not the whole library, but a portion of the library would be able to stand alone on its own electricity immediately following an emergency. So if all of Richmond had a blackout, the Resilience Hub there could have enough power to last It depends on where we land with budget, but anywhere from 6 hours to a couple days, just depending. What that means is that then low-income residents or people who with needs for cooling or heating could get into that building. They could also plug in medical equipment or keep something cool that is medically needed to be keep cool. It protects the hospital from getting overrun, but it also is something that is becoming increasingly more popular in communities to have kind of a resilience hub that is easy to get to. Some resilience hubs are out at fairgrounds and things like that, not easy to get to. This is a really nice match because Morrison Reeves Library is easy to get to, but also is undergoing, as you know, renovations over the next couple of years, so the timing is really nice. Next steps will be determining the budget and splitting out the two parts of the budget to the Housing Authority and the Morrison Reeves Library. The project has gone through both of their boards. Both of the boards approved moving forward with this project. Again, still in the planning phases, so there could be some movement there. We're going to work with them on a timeline, see who is installing when. We'll keep working with INCAA. They are the ones that are the go-between between the EPA and us, so we're not working directly with the EPA. We're going through INCAA, which is why we're here tonight. We owe them paperwork, so we have to get that prepared and ready for them. And then we'll continue to watch the recent bill developments. The recent bill did have some ramifications with energy efficiency and alternative energy projects. We're really hopeful this one didn't get tackled. There seems to be a difference between designated funds or allocated, what's the term? Can't remember. Designated funds and not designated funds, but there's a fancier term for that. So that may be where we are having a little bit of struggle, but INCAA is working on that. They have attorneys and everybody's trying to figure it out right now. So we're just kind of in a waiting game. But they do want us to continue to plan. So we are keeping our fingers crossed. And finally, the restrictions on this program. There is no flexibility on the growth or on the grant focus. So when people say that's $3 million, we could have done so much with that. No, it is hyper focused on this very thing. So we can't have a lot of flexibility there. At least 2.6 of the million has to be spent on the systems as opposed to administrative costs. They have carved out up to 400 million, up to 400,000 for administrative costs. We plan on hiring a contractor to oversee the project so that it does not take time away from city staffers, and we're not bogging down city staff members such as Thomas with a project that somebody else could do and the grant would pay for. It must be spent by April 2029. That aligns well with MRL's project, so we feel pretty good about that one. And then the last restriction is no additional funds are available, so we can't go back for extras. If we overspend, we have to be really on it with the spending. What we're asking for tonight is your blessing to move forward and keep planning with INCAA, but also it's extremely helpful to them if we don't have any other approval processes to go through with council. So I don't know if there's a possibility of moving on to second reading tonight, but it'd be really helpful if we can get to INCAA tomorrow and say it has been approved by council that we move forward in this partnership. So Thomas is here. He knows as much about this as I do. So if you have any questions, we'd love to take them.
Questions from
President.
council at this time?
Mr. President, I have a
Yes.
question. Allison, thank you. Great presentation, very informative. It's restricted for low-income areas or just Richmond Housing Authority residents or just low-income areas in Richmond as a whole?
Both. So we have to show that we are focusing on areas that are economically disadvantaged through maps that Thomas has produced. We could have gone down the road of choosing low-income individual homes with low-income families to put solar on each individual home. In our mind, in Skip's mind, in lots of minds, that is really, really tough to create a whole program to do that, to ensure that's fair, to ensure that we can follow through with every single one of them. You can imagine the amount of administrative costs that would take. So in our mind, we reach the same goal by going straight through Housing Authority into the public housing apartments. We get the same goal. We can get behind the meter at the Southview apartments. So we're thinking that that may be the right place to go, still working on that. But we can get behind the meter there so we can give direct benefit to the low-income families there. So does that answer your question to a certain degree?
Will it be all of the public housing sites?
Not all of it, we can't afford that. The reason that this grant is so great is because solar is typically only reserved for people who can put up that upfront cash.
Right.
It's very expensive upfront. It saves you a lot of money down the road, but a lot of people just can't put down that cash. So the point of this is to be the person that puts down the cash, basically, in the beginning, and allows people to take advantage of the fact that the sun is generally shining quite a bit in Indiana, and we can reap the benefits of it.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Any additional questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes. I'm very happy with your decision not to go to individual housing, because then you would have structural studies, et cetera, which
feel
would be cumbersome, to say the least. But I do have a question on long-term sustainability of this program, the maintenance, and mechanically as well as just general maintenance.
That's a great question. I should have mentioned that earlier. We are getting clarification from the EPA about whether we can include maintenance funds as a part of these. These systems will become property of the Housing Authority and Morrison Reeves Library when the projects are finished. So Richmond will not own these properties and will not have to maintain them, but it does put a burden on those other organizations. So we have asked if we can include maintenance funds in there or maintenance contracts or something like that. The library would have a battery system there because that's how you do resilience hubs. You would be both grid tied but be fitting into the battery at the same time. The Housing Authority would not be. It would be just grid tied with no battery backup. But battery takes a lot of, thinking and ensuring that is working right, and maintenance too. So we're working on that to try to carve out some of the funds to ensure that there's money for that. But by accepting these projects, the library and the Housing Authority have said we'd like to take that on because the financial benefit to us is greater than the cost of maintenance. Projected. Nobody knows, until down the road, but the projected
Yeah.
savings
I
is
would just
better.
hate to see this investment setting because of some kind of a maintenance issue.
Right, no, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Additional comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Engel?
first of all, I want to compliment you on this presentation. I think it was terrific. I am a member of the Environmental Sustainability Commission, and I'm in full support. I think this is a very positive thing for our community. Thank you.
Thanks, yeah. We're excited that they looked at Richmond and thought enough potential here to give us the opportunity to participate, for sure.
You say you're under the gun as far as the deadline. What
Yeah.
is the deadline?
The 18th, several days ago, actually, was the deadline. They made a special exemption for us so that we said we simply getting approval from the library board, getting approval from the Housing Authority board, and getting to council. We couldn't do it in time. And they said, that's okay. We are excited about Richmond being involved, so go ahead and go to council. And if you can get approval, then you can submit your paperwork on the 22nd instead. So that's our plan. If you will entertain that plan, that's our plan.
Mr. Burkhart, the Finance Committee has not had a chance to look at this, have they?
Mr. President, we have. Back on July the 7th, we had spoke with Thomas and Allison on her vacation. And,
Good.
we, nothing's off limits here. So, we had asked them in great length about the maintenance, the oversight, the long-term plans, the operation, the storage of the power, asking all the questions on, the city's responsibility and the liabilities that are on this. And the Finance Committee back on the 7th all agreed that this is an incredible opportunity and something that we hope is approved by the council.
Okay, well, thank you.
So, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and advance ordinance number 34, 2025 to second reading, read by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and advance ordinance 34, 2025 to second reading, read by title only. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ordinance number 34, 2025. Excuse me.
Want me to read it?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Ordinance
Jumped
number
the gun.
34, 2025. Anything else?
Nope.
An appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of a federal grant from the Indiana Community Action Association.
Ordinance 34, 2025 is on second reading, which is public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone in the audience like to speak in opposition of this ordinance?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to engross. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Call the question.
Second.
Have a motion to call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Please call the roll.
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner,
Aye.
Jane Bumbalow.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
Gary Purcell.
Aye.
And Larry Parker.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Second reading.
Yes, please. On second reading, we have one ordinance.
Ordinance number 32, 2025, an appropriation ordinance amending the 2025 budget.
Finance Committee report.
Yeah, Mr. President, Finance Committee has heard this a couple times now, and we recommend approval.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ordinance number 32, 2025 is on second reading, which is public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone in the audience like to speak in opposition?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to engross. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Call the question.
Second.
I waited.
Have a motion to call the question in a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Please call the roll.
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumbalow.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Motion carried. Is there any unfinished business to come before council at this time?
Move for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor for adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.
You are watching Whitewater Government Television, WGTV, Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.